businesses thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Podcast where hearts unite, sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Inner Circle Podcast. Today is Wednesday. It's our business and finance segment. I'm your host, Abe Kamara. It's March 4th. I'm here with my co-host, Miss B. Miss B, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, Miss B, minding the business that pays me.
Okay. And tonight we are talking about war and your wallet. I know they say we are at war, so we are talking about war and your wallet. How's that affecting your wallet? I know they say gas prices are going up. Who already pays the price when our government has so much thing going on? War, immigration crackdown, all the stuff. So tonight that's it. So we'll try to see what prices are doing here. How are our small businesses doing and things like that in terms of all of this stuff that's going on in the economy. So, folks, you can join the conversation tonight again by calling our number 952-594-5154 or putting a comment in the chat. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, on X, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. There's a growing movement. Help us grow. And we're still waiting for Miss B tattoo. We plan to videotape her go live for that tattoo, right? Maybe she waiting for her to get the 500 subscribers. So maybe
500 YouTube subscribers, and it's gonna happen. And we have equipment that's gonna be going on the road, gonna be at the tattoo shop with me. So I already did the pricing. Miss B is frugal, everybody. So even though I'm excited to get this tattoo, it had to do some research and find the most affordable, but yet, somebody with great quality. And so I compared prices, but who knew 3 letters could be this expensive though? Like $150 is what's the going price, the lowest price I could find from a good tattoo artist. So it's coming. It's going to happen.
Okay. So folks, the new goalpost is 500 YouTube subscribers, and Miss B will get her tattoos, right? Tattoo of her husband. So maybe the husband too, if you're listening to this, tell people to subscribe, right? So your wife can get a tattoo of your name. So it's my brother-in-law. So if you're listening, spread the word, right? Make sure it's like right now we are 318, 320, so it's like one in there about 180. And help us get there, and Miss B will get a tattoo, and you can watch it live on the Inner Circle Podcast.
Live, yes.
Anyway, folks, it's great having you back here tonight. Last night was a great show. I enjoyed that conversation. Talking to the lone Republican, talking to all these Democrats. It was a great show. And having Liberians in leadership or pursuing leadership. That was a great conversation last night. But back to tonight, as Ms. B always say, minding the business that pays. Ms. B, first of all, before we get into the topic, I hear like Broken Park opened a $10 million facility. I hear something. What's going on with that? What's going on with that? Let the community know, because it's like, who's that? Who's that accessible to? I love
everybody.
Everybody. I hear that they open a for basketball, but tell the community more though. Tell us more about it.
So it's called The Wood, and it plays off of the fact that it's connected to Zanewood Elementary School, right? And so we already was running programs next to the school, and we got some more funding to expand the, so it's been shut down for almost a year, opened back up this year. Last week, Sunday was the opening.
Yeah, I hear Adam Tilling, former wide receiver for the Vikings, was in the building. Okay.
Yes, he donated resources. And so it's a great, oh my gosh, it's a great state-of-the-art facility. and we want to be running programs, youth, especially youth programs. So it's already using it for a youth center prior to. And so you have basketball court, I mean, studio for, you know, kids to go in there and make music. And so you name it, it's a really state of the art community center, and anybody can have access to it. There's meeting rooms in there. I don't know if we're going to be able to get in there because it was so busy prior to. And let me tell you, it used to be too many kids were in the building, not enough space to accommodate them. And so it's because the youth programming had grew so much that they needed more space. And so that's why they got that money to be able to build that space. It'd be great if you get it up
so
on the screen and show people.
the basketball gym might not even be available to the community because I mean the demand for it. I mean, I hear Bob Morrison when he said last week, he said there's 30,000 on a normal day kids in Broken Park, you know, that need
Yep.
those facilities,
Yep.
that need such
So,
a facility, and there's nowhere for them to go.
yep. So it's called the Wood. It's the new teen center. You know, this is a massive investment in youth. And I know we don't like to talk about it, but this is what people talk about when they're saying defund the police. And they're saying, let's utilize some of, when we like public safety. There's a lot of things that are under public safety people just besides police. So we shouldn't always correlate public safety just with police. Police runs a lot of different programs. And so sometimes we feel like when you can invest more in youth, and that's why the Baltimore mayor has been so successful in lowering crime and turning that city around, because he came in there with this type of investment idea. Like, we're going to invest in the youth. You invest in the youth, you get kids off the street, crime will not even be a thing anymore. And then you will increase the income level for your population, because now you're going to have kids that are going to be more likely to finish school, go to college, and become, you know, increase your tax base. So there's a lot of study and statistics that show this $8 million investment is worth it, and we're going to see a return on that investment. So kudos to the city of Brooklyn Park.
Okay, okay. Well, Brooke, I hope the community know about it, right? Because the person who alerted me to that was Bob Morrison, and then I hear it on. I have seen a couple of news reports since then about it, but again, right, it's like the concern is you don't have these things filter into our community all of the time, right? These things don't filter to our community. I don't know how many Liberians or immigrants even know that such a facility exists that they can, access it and things like that. So I hope maybe the city can, publicize. I mean, the sun post, right? They always post something in the sun post. How many people read the sun post? I saw that mayor, first of all, last week Saturday. I told him he need to come on the Inner Circle podcast because I have some burning questions for him for the rest. A lot of things I've heard, and I have some questions for him. But how many people read the sun post in your city?
The Sun Post is still hugely read by the Sun Post is still hugely read by a lot of citizens, to be honest. It's not free. People are paying for it. And so in order for it to still be in business, I don't think, if they didn't have the readership, they probably still couldn't be in business. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know, as an organization that works in the city in Brooklyn Center, we utilize the Sun Post to do a lot of our communication. Right now, as candidates are running for office, they will find value in running ads and stuff and buying, page and stuff and like that in the Sun Post. So it is still a good marketing medium. And this is the thing: cities pay for this. They have a budget that they set for the Sun Post too, to support in that.
For media, I mean, all of the media, right?
They have a media budget. And so cities are not only investing in just Sun Post, so they actually invest in immigrant media, minority media. So places like Mashale, who reaches out to the African immigrant community, they get resources from these cities as well to share out information. So I agree with you. I'm somebody that subscribes to all the cities, the county, the state, e-newsletters, electronic newsletters. And I did not get an electronic newsletter for this event that happened on Sunday. I believe it probably was a missed opportunity, or their communications person probably forgot, because I get the e-news community engagement letter and this does not come through. I was at a meeting today too with the Minnesota Northwest Tourism Board, and they themselves said they did not have this information One of the women who lives in the city of Brooklyn Park, her child gave her that information off of TikTok, I think.
So I mean, that's the thing. How can a $10 million facility open in the city of Brooklyn Park, and the neighborhood you're talking about is huge, is has a huge immigrant population. I'm talking you have that apartment complex right there, the
Huntington.
Willows. I mean, the Willows is not far from there, and then
Yep.
there's a townhome. There's I mean there's Northridge. There's so many apartment complexes within that vicinity. Even is where across from that trouble apartment complex that has I've had so many owners, you know, what Huntington Point of place. I
So
always
trust and believe, people realizing that place is open is not going to be a problem. It will be
no, I
utilized.
know that
It will
I
be
know,
heavily
right?
utilized.
It will. I know it will be used a lot, but sometimes I say, right, it's like just to your point, right? Information dissemination, just to get to the community because, again, we live in a day and age, right? Is like if you're still utilizing old media, it's not getting to a lot of people or the people that really need it, for for that. But anyway, kudos to you guys, man, for opening a $10 million facility for the community to use. Kudos to you guys. Kudos to everyone that work on that project, and kudos to Adam Tillin. I mean, that's how I learned about it. That he donated $100,000, and stuff like that. So, but that's great. Maybe we need to work on our own African Community Resource Center. But anyway, so let's talk about the current state of what's going on here in the US, right? I mean, there's a current war going. The Middle East right now is hot. Folks are getting evacuated from the Middle East. That thing is spreading a wildfire. Thing is escalating so fast, right? The war just started on Saturday, and now it's like, the U.S. State Department warning all Americans to leave the Middle East. A lot of people travel. Businesses travel to the Middle East to go. Like people go to Dubai to get goods, or maybe they transit through Dubai to go to Turkey. You know, how's this whole thing going to affect immigrant business, especially small businesses, right? People that go and buy goods and things like that. How is it going to affect? How do you think that it is going to affect their wallet their pocketbooks and the way they operate their businesses? Now the government has not declared war yet, but we are pretty much in a state of war, basically.
To be honest, things have been economically, things have been getting bad in America, right? And we were all looking forward to this administration to be that change, right? To bring in policies that would be able to address inflation, and other things. But unfortunately, it's not looking that way. And so, people just need to save. And I know what scares this economy is when the American people decide they're not going to spend, when consumer spending goes down and people start to really be watching their budget. And so unfortunately what that means then is businesses will not have that traffic. And a lot of businesses have already been struggling still post COVID, right? There's still some businesses that not really bounced on their feet. And then especially when you add the recent metro surge, which businesses that closed still have yet to reopen and may not reopen. And then now you're talking about the fact that we have war, we're at war. um you know it's just going to make things even worse, especially when we were hoping that some of these policies in the big beautiful bill, when it comes to businesses and taxes and what have you, and people's income not being taxed, tips and stuff like that, we were hoping these things would be able to have some kind of trickle effect. But it's not looking that way. It's the first quarter, and people are not reporting. Even businesses as large as Target, they're not reporting good first quarter earnings.
Yeah, yeah. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing the current war. How is that affecting small businesses? Or whenever you have the kind of situations, there's like affect inflation, jobs, taxes, and cost of living. You always see that when it comes to the cost of living, right? I mean, gas prices, those everyone that have a car, which is the entire America, right? I hear gas prices have gone up nationally everywhere because the Middle East is a huge supplier of oil, and that affects, oil is a global commodity. And so when there's a war in the Middle East, it affects the price of oil, and the price of oil affects the price of gas. Not only gas, but prices of everything. So obviously, right, prices might be going up for the average consumer. It might be right. Folks might start putting back, but the American economy, if you look at it, it has been so much. It has been so resilient. I mean, even the Minnesota economy, right? I was surprised last week when the state came up with their forecast. It's like they still, forecasting a 300 billion surplus over the next couple of years. I mean, in this budget, in the budget cycle, $3 billion. So, I mean, with everything Minnesota has been going through, the state economy is still doing pretty well. That might not be trickling down. That's up to you. But you guys are the one in power. But it might not be trickling. They are telling us, right? That's why, as I said, that was a state report, right? There's $3 billion surplus. That's a projection.
I mean, we just have to give it up to the state of Minnesota. And we have a formula here that works. And it clearly says that we should be having the folks that we have in office, right? Especially when
I don't agree with that. Taxes are so high in your state. It's a high tax state.
the surplus and the continuous surplus, as other states are struggling. Some states need to shut down. That's how bad some states are struggling. They need to literally shut down because they don't have the money to address the needs of their citizens. So we're doing something right in the state of Minnesota. What we need now is better policies that will shape how those dollars can be put in places where it is needed the most to have an even greater return. Because why you're having these $3 billion surplus? A lot of that, you can trace the dollar to what is causing the surplus. And when we had that $17.5 billion surplus, $7 billion of that surplus was due to the African American community. So I can just imagine that when you talk about having these surpluses, it's these ethnic economies that is really helping to drive some of these surpluses, is these small mom and pop shops. As data shows, somebody just did a research data for growth economy for, I think, the city of Brooklyn Center. And the data shows that the city should focus on investing in its small mom and pop shops, looking for the Targets and the Walmarts or Walgreens, these franchise types of stores, to come and be that economic engine. Those days are gone. It's really going to take mainstream small business, micro businesses to drive the local economy for a lot of these cities and states. And so that's where we need to continue to channel our energy, right? The businesses that I like to work with and I work with all the time, these micro businesses, right? We will see that return on our investment. It's like, for years, people would say, oh, Black actors and actresses, Black movies won't sell. And we've shown that, right? From even as far back as when Wesley Snipes did Blade. Like, Wesley Snipes' Blade was the one that turned things around for Marvel when they were struggling. So I'm saying that investing in this ethnic economy is going to be the key to make that turnaround.
So are you saying the state should take that $3 billion and give part of it and invest part of it in the ethnic economy? How? How should that be done? How should that be done?
In the midst of the backlash that Tim Walz received from last session was, oh, he gave too much money to nonprofit organizations, too much money was given to minority organizations, and so on and so forth. I bet you when we disaggregate that data, you will see the investments that were made in these nonprofit organizations that continue to be in these urban cores, in these ethnic communities. The return on that is what you're seeing now in this surplus. I bet you without a doubt that when we give the time to disaggregate that data and do the research behind where is this surplus coming from, what impacts has allowed a surplus to happen, you will trace it back to those dollars that the legislature has invested intentionally back into urban cores, to African American communities, to the immigrant communities, to these ethnic economies.
So how did the nonprofit? Okay, make the nonprofit one make sense to me. How are they contributing back to those surpluses?
So CDFIs, money was given to CDFIs. The state emerging entrepreneur program, and the state does this guarantee loan program. So that means when these entities give loans to these businesses, the state will guarantee these loans. and was just in a meeting today, a policy meeting, and was talking about how a grant, I forgot how much the grant was given to a small business. In the following year, the return on that investment, that business grossed $4 million. So that right there tells you how that money gets to where it needs to get to when you invest it back into these into these organizations to be able to give it back. These organizations give it back sometimes in the form of a loan. Like I said, CDFIs can do loans to these type of business with lower interest rates. It gets invested back through the technical assistance that these organizations are able to provide these small businesses. This is things that the U.S. banks and the Wells Fargos are not going to do, right? And it gets invested back in these entrepreneur training programs. So programs where people can learn how to take care of that back office. There's a lot of great entrepreneur programs that businesses are coming in, learning how to do a business plan, learning how to do that profit and loss system, learning how to hire people, right? These are some of the technical assistance that businesses are seeing. And you're seeing the return in that type of investment in their profit margins are increasing.
Well, folks don't know we are talking about war and the economy, how is it affecting small businesses. But what we are doing now, we are also like, discussing how resilient the Minnesota economy is, how resilient the US economy is, despite everything that's going on, immigration crackdown, now war with Iran. It's like so much has been going on this year. As I said, it's only the third month of the year, but it seems like 24 months of the year already because there's a lot every day, there's a lot going on. But with all of that, the US economy still seems to be resilient. And last year, our economics here in the state of Minnesota projected that the state still has a surplus of $3 billion over the next biennium, right, which is the fiscal year, which is the 2-year period. It started last year, and I think it ends next year, 2027, right? I mean, you guys are the state people. The only time I learned about how the whole state budgeting work, and I know there's a lot of money in the state capitals. It was last year when my girl who that invited me said, "Come and see for yourself." I said, "Whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa! There's a lot of
that's
money
where
in
the
this
real
house."
deals get
There,
made. Yeah,
there's a lot of money in this house, right? People be talking billions, millions. And here we've been sitting here, it's like we don't even know what's going on, right? It's like, like when what we open the show with. I learned that the facility that was opening, that was just opening the Woods, I think the state contributed $8 million to that. To that initiative. So it's like a lot of serious money be coming back to the community, be coming back, but is it impacting or affecting everyone? I agree to that point. Right? And for me, it's like we are here to amplify, empower, and elevate immigrant voices and immigrant causes. But do our immigrant people really are they participating in these kind of initiatives? Because we don't hear about it though, man. We only hear this money. As I said, it was my first time learning about how much money, is like is that be going around for different causes. And I said, whoa, is that how this thing works? So if you're not at the table, it's like you're pretty much the meal here, and stuff like that. So I did learn a lot last year.
So, I mean, yes, because that's a return on our investment, right? When you think about cities like Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center, where those are, majority BIPOC residents that are in those cities, and those cities are doing well. So people, their income is increasing every year. The tax base is getting stronger, right? The average salary in these cities, you're talking about 86,000 or more a year, right? That's the average salary in the households. And so those are pretty good economies, right? And so rightfully so, right, that the return on the investment should be poured back into where it's needed. And you're going to see that, right? When parents have somewhere for their kids to do, when kids are staying out of trouble, parents can focus on the business at hand, managing their businesses, running their businesses successfully, having, activities, and being around a thriving and being a business in a thriving city. It's a benefit to you as well. And so everybody is seeing the return on that investment, some way, shape, or form, versus then we just giving a company some resources and hoping that they employ the residents in that city, right? And then hopefully they're employing them at high wage jobs, or they're creating high wage jobs, right? No, there are other ways in which we can invest in cities, and especially when you have cities that don't have the Targets and the Walmarts, right? You invest in these ethnic economies, and especially in times like this, when we've gone through something like the Metro Surge. this is great timing for this surplus to happen, right? So now we can give these resources back to these businesses who are going to face even more problems as we talk about gas prices going up because of the war, are going to be, look at, it's like people are having to be resilient all the time. Metro surge is done, and then next thing you know, we're bombing Bahrain and Iran. Businesses are always trying to be resilient. It's like to what end? So yes, glad we have a surplus. Glad we're going to be getting some resources to these businesses because
So are you saying in addition to the $10 million that the governor announced, there should be more going out to these businesses? Is that what it's in 10 million? I mean, I haven't heard anything. I mean, since that $10 million announcement, I know the legislature is back in session, but I haven't heard anything, in addition to the $10 million.
So mind you, I believe the 10 million was kind of announced prior to session, maybe a day or
Yeah.
two prior to session, right? So that was money at his discretion. So now with session, now with them back in session, there's a bigger pot that they can have a discussion around. And so we're not only just asking the state to make these resources.
So now you guys are trying to go after that bigger pot because you have heard there's $3 billion out there.
Bigger pot. And
That's a
corporations.
forecast, that's not a real money sitting in the bank.
We're asking corporations too, because can you imagine Target just paid $100 and something million to get out of their lease in downtown Minneapolis? Get out of the lease.
That corporate headquarters or different building?
I believe it's their corporate headquarters. I always thought they owned it.
No, I think it's a different building. I don't think it's that corporate.
They were leasing it. I don't think it's a Target-owned building.
But I don't think it's that corporate headquarters. I think it is. It is because that building can be $126 million
to get out of their lease. That's what they said. They paid.
Where are they going to go? So are they going to come Brooklyn Park?
They own 11 acres in Brooklyn Park. So why not be there? Why occupy 2 spaces? And you think about the money.
They own the stuff in Brooklyn Park. They own Brooklyn Park.
They own Brooklyn Park.
Wow, and that's a beautiful facility to do. I mean, the one sitting in Brooklyn Park is a beautiful facility. It's huge. Yep. So why should it be? I mean, except Minneapolis is giving a huge tax break, but there's no need it should be in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis has been shaming them for not forcing their employees to come back in the office because, yes, downtown was thriving because they were living off of all these corporations being down there. But people have to learn how to pivot. What happened is a lot of suburban corporate heads had occupied, residency in Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, because they didn't want to keep making that commute. So Monday through Friday, they stayed in their condos and what have you downtown. And then on the weekends, they went home to their suburban homes. But when COVID happened, a lot of these folks like, okay, I'm working remotely. They have offloaded a lot of those properties or just don't even attend to those homes. Even if it's still in their ownership, they have no need to go there. And so that's why the downtowns are struggling. Downtowns, the way they were built were wrong anyways. The fact that you had downtowns built with all these parking ramps and, and hotels and office buildings, right? They were sustainable for a time. These are different times. And so now they need to look different. They need to have a lot of housing, and that's what they're doing. But it's that shift in that this downtime now that is really struggling with downtown. But yeah, I say that to say that the idea that Target can spend that much money just to get out of a lease, $100+ million, I think it was 127, 147, something like that, to get out of this lease. Then these same corporations were asking them as well to be able to give money. I know some of them came together and gave $3.5 million to Minneapolis Foundation, but there needs to be more. They should be at least matching what the state is doing right now at this point.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight basically we are discussing all of the challenges that has been going on in 2026. Metro search. Now there's a bombing of Iran. There's a war basically, but we're not calling it a war. We're just calling it, a bombing campaign by Asia and the United States. First of all, we want to, there was a service member from Minnesota who lost her life, a lady with 2 kids and her husband. She was just due to come back from deployment. She was based in Qatar. She lost her life. I think either Kuwait or one of those countries. But, in a time of war, I think we'll talk about this on Monday, right? It's like the loss of life. And those that are in the military, we want to, first of all, offer our prayers for them and our condolences to the 6 U.S. service members that were killed. it happens that our state was affected. One of the lady serving in the Minnesota National Guard was unfortunately lost her life. So I think she from the city of Woodbury. So that's so. I mean, these things hit closer to home, and I think you mentioned that last week. For all of the families that have, for all of the people that have families in the military or friends and families in the military, in a time of war like this, it affects, it impacts every one of them, and it impacts the entire country. And so it's one of those situations where, in like, this has hit closer to home. The first six people that died, one of them is from Minnesota. So it's our state, man. We are resilient people, but we have been going through a lot. Everything these days seems to hit Minnesota one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is war is not fun. What is the definition of being at war? Because I feel like we forever have troops deployed places in our
Well, I mean, the United States, right? It's like United States they are the superpower of the world. So they have like military bases in a lot of countries. They have troops deployed in a lot of places, in a lot of conflict zones. And so if you have family members in the military, there's a likelihood they will be deployed even to places
yeah.
like Japan where there's no war, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, everywhere, right? Because the US Army, or if you have folks in the Navy and things like that, right? So then you have family members that they can be deployed anytime, and the president of the United States can order them to combat or to bombing campaigns anytime, right? So these things is and I guess, right, that's why we always kind of honor that sacrifice of those who serve in the military, because it's an ultimate sacrifice, right? It's like they can be caught up anytime, and things can. I mean, even this when this bombing campaign started, it caught the six service member that died. It caught them by surprise, right? It's like it was it hit their base, I think, by surprise, and things like that. So don't you have family members deploy, right? These things happens.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, so
Unfortunately.
yeah.
I mean, we
So
all we all pay for it, when we think about I think already we're probably $2 billion in to this war. And people are projecting, a cost of $210 billion. It's like we all pay for it.
I
And
mean, it's our
unfortunately,
tax that is our tax dollars, right? I mean,
yeah.
there's definitely economic impact, right? As I mentioned earlier, right? Things prices might rise, and you think about it, oil has a role to play in a lot of goods and services. In a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
goods, I mean, there's oil.
Oh yeah.
Oil has a major role to play in lots and lots of goods. So when the price of oil goes up, it's not only gasoline that goes up. A lot of
Mm-mm.
other prices, it's like a lot of other things goes up, right? It's like ticket prices might be going up. I mean, right now,
Transportation, because like, yeah, everything. Transportation is huge. Yep.
if you are one of those thinking about maybe like Ghana independence is coming up this Friday, if you are thinking about traveling to Ghana, for Ghana Independence Day, ticket prices might be high. If you or maybe thinking about going to Liberia, for
I
whatever,
know people who
for
are leaving.
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People are
ticket
leaving
prices ticket
Liberia.
prices might be high, right? Because obviously, right, the disruption to flights, a lot of a
And
lot of flights.
disruption of goods and services because those goods not coming. And so if you're even going to Liberia, things might look different right now because there are certain things may not even be available in the country
Yeah,
due
a lot
to
of them might look
exporting
different,
and
right? Supply
importing.
chain, supply
Yeah. Yep.
chains has been disrupted,
Mhm.
shipping routes, and things like that. So it's like the impact of this war is not. I mean, it's being felt. You know what I mean? Hopefully, it doesn't last long, but to small businesses, to individuals, I think the entire war is going to feed it somewhere or another. But again, back home here, as I stated earlier, right, our economy has been very, very resilient. But how long can we keep holding on, right? Is especially like a state of Minnesota or maybe even the United States. How long can we keep, just being resilient? To your point earlier, how long can we still be resilient? A lot of businesses, if they are not already closing, because prices, lots and lots of disruption, metro surge, and now this war, it's just going to impact businesses. And how do you survive these moments? I guess.
I would say the upside of this and being optimistic is look at some investment opportunities. Like, where can you put your money right now to get, yield the best return? Or even if you wanted to sit for a little bit, where can it sit right now until you feel comfortable to be in the market making investments. There was an event last night called the Next 26, and money was in that building. It was at the Guthrie Theater. There was a lot of money in that building last night. My colleague and I were supposed to go, but I had a training I had to participate in. And, she was debriefing me today about it. And she's like, man, there was some money in that building last night. And basically what that was investors looking for different companies or ideas to invest in, despite everything that is happening right now. And so whenever there's a storm, try and figure out, as a business person, an entrepreneur, investor, like, okay, what can I take advantage of right now that I probably wouldn't be able to take advantage of, or if things were okay. So like sometimes right now, maybe, long-standing American businesses, their stocks are lower right now, right? Take advantage of that, because if you have companies that's been around for the last 100+ years and their stocks are down now, it's just a minor or temporary downtime. So take advantage of this time right now. If you're an investor and you have money, to buy more stock or buy stock for the first time if you haven't. Look at places, companies that have traditionally been doing well, always consistently do well, but right now maybe their stock is low because they're not performing, their portfolio is not performing to its best.
I mean, to your point, though, right? It's never not a good time to establish a business. And sometimes the best time to even establish a business is when it's during these uncertain times, right? Is that obviously we have been saying it, right? I think since the second administration, there have been so many uncertainty, right? From tariff, to immigration crackdowns to so I mean from Doge, where the federal government were cutting everything and everything, everything and anything, from the tariffs to Liberation Day, now immigration crackdown, metro search, and then now the bombing of Iran is like, so these are all these might seem uncertain times, but it's also opportunity, right? As I said, like as you and I have been saying here, right? The economy in Minnesota is still resilient. It has been resilient, right? The U.S. economy has been resilient. It's still resilient. Obviously, right? Let us acknowledge the fact a lot of businesses or small businesses are suffering. A lot of people are still feeling pain. But these are also time, right, that you can take advantage of. Okay, what's out there, right? With it, even like AI is all over, making things easier. Is like what's out there? What can I invest in? How can I make mine as a small business? Maybe that how can I, maybe the line of business I'm in, how can I even expand? Right, even to our healthcare businesses, right? Is that Minnesota is under stress right now. The cutting of funding for Medicaid, hopefully our group homes, our healthcare facilities can survive. But in the midst of all of this, though, there's still business opportunity. I guess that's the point you're trying to drive at. And I do agree
Yes,
with you. There's still business opportunity. There's still
yes,
something out there. There's still a need out there, right? That a lot of folks can take advantage of. Again, but you have to put yourself out there, right? You have to put yourself out there as a business. A lot of the thing, sometimes the reason why I always advocate for information filtering to our community, some even folks that are operating business in our community, I guess information is not filtering to them, or they are not being intentional of finding out what's out there for them. What is out there? What are the opportunities that are out there that can take advantage of? What are the maybe like the cities FI you always talking about? I don't think the only reason why I think Inner Circle Podcast have done great things for me, the only reason why I'm learning about these things, right, is since we started this platform. That's how I'm learning about these programs. I said, well, I've been in Minnesota for long, though, but I don't know about these things. CDFIs, right? They are community organizations that can
yep,
give out loans to small businesses. I
yep,
never knew about that stuff, to be honest with you. And I've been hustling on these streets for a long time, but I don't even know about these things.
yeah, yeah. And so, like, again, you was talking about group homes, despite everything that's happening. So you just think sometimes, like, when a system is kind of clogged up, you have to clean it out, you have to flush it out. And when you flush it out, then you figure out, okay, where am I missing? Where am I missing? What needs to be refilled now? Like, I've depleted too much and things need to get refilled, like what nutrients are missing. And healthcare is still one of the most, high revenue and employee dominated is healthcare, finance, and technology. And so, as we lose some group homes, a lot of them due to bad compliance, right? When we go and help provide technical assistance to some of these group homes, they have like 38 violations. And I know why a lot of our folks will be having violation problems. we don't pay attention to the importance of operations and infrastructure. The back office is so important. Most times, our immigrant businesses, they only want to focus on those receivables and those accounts payable. The receivables is that invoice, making sure it goes to the state, and receiving those money. Those that payables is making sure the overhead for that business is paid. Unfortunately, making sure you have certain things like a employee handbook in place, documentation of staff, making sure that HR files are complete. These are some of the compliance issues that people are having. How did you do your intake to receive that client in? What does that client handbook look like? The intake, meaning what information did you collect on each client? Their emergency contact information. So we don't understand the importance of what we call the back office, your operations. And we don't pay attention to that. And that's why you see a lot of our businesses are struggling, regardless of what industry they are. They don't and that's where our huge amount of our technical assistance that we provide as I work with business, that's what I want them to make the time and come in for. And oftentimes they like to throw it to the wind. And then until it chokes them, when the state has come and given them a long list of violations and given them a certain time to correct it, some of them, the state was like, no, I'm not even going to let you correct this. I'm shutting you down. And at least I'm only going to shut you down. I'm not going to report you, to get a lawsuit, or, we're not going to sue you. We're just going to shut you down. And so, oftentimes is that our businesses are struggling due to back office and operations. So even in the midst of all the environmental things that can be happening out of their control, this is why they may not be successful, because it did not take the time. My husband likes to say you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. If we stay ready, we're not making up for the fact there is war, there's immigration, metro surge. We won't have to be able to always having to be resilient if we stay ready and prepared in case emergencies happen. A lot of big companies, they have emergency reserves. Do we know the thing they call reserves? Businesses should have reserves.
I mean, obviously, I know we talk about this segment. I mean, my man Randy, obviously, he's busy right now, but he did talk about SOP, standard operating procedures. That's something he's very passionate about as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. Right? He's very passionate about it, and we did a segment here on standard and on SOPs. Randy was very instrumental in us doing that. But yeah, but you are right, right? It's a lot of our businesses, and that's where the scaling. I think that's the reason why they struggle to scale, right?
Yep.
Businesses don't scale in our community because they don't invest in SOPs, right? It's just about, because you will know, I agree with you. People sometimes we just want to see the money coming in. Forget about even paying people or all of the other overheads and stuff. That we just want to see that money coming. Oh, damn! I mean, there's money in there. It's coming in. Bam. For the work that go into it, because for me, I'm passionate about seeing growth, right?
Yes.
We have businesses in the community. Don't get me. We have businesses in the community. Are they growing? I would like to see the Waterside Market opening like a Walmart like super center. Honestly, right? I would like to see that. Or maybe opening like a Dragon like supermarket. Right. I would like to see Waterside Market doing that. Shout out to the lady who's opening the daycare. I think that's a second expansion in Brooklyn Park. Yeah, you know what I mean? So those are the kind of growth to me I would like to see, right? You have a little spot.
And so let me just touch on her growth real quick.
Go ahead,
She
go
went
ahead.
from leasing and renting a space in Crystal. She now owns that building that she's building from the ground up. Land and building, she owns it. So that's a great example of growth.
Yeah, we plan to bring Christina on here. You know what I mean? I hear though it's an expansion. It's not even. She's not closing the Crystal place.
She's gonna have 2 locations because
Yeah,
daycare. There's a high need for daycare. And again, Waterside was once renting. Okay, now he owns.
Okay. I mean, so here's the thing I want to throw out there, right? Is like if anybody listening, if you want to, if you are into the daycare thing, or if you want to do a daycare business, Deed is offering a grant right now for anybody who want to open a daycare center. Stuff like that. The state of Minnesota through the Department of Economic, I don't know how you call that thing. Let me just say D.
Economic and Employment Development. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. They are offering, I think, up to $1 million grant to folks that are in a child care business. So anyone listening to us tonight, check out the website. There's a grant out there. If you can list with people who already own a license, or if you can go through the process of applying for the license, there's a grant out there that D is offering. Because to your point, there's a huge demand for it. There's a huge need for childcare.
And then
Even
also
though,
Cappy has the space. So Cappy's new building, they're building in Brooklyn Center. They just
Mhm.
sent out an email that they have space for anybody who's trying to open a childcare center. They have space for a childcare center. So they will
oh,
save you
so you
the
can
time.
lease it. So you can lease it from them, or what?
You can lease this from them. So now the
Oh,
space is going to come already like certified by the state and all. It's in compliance. So a lot of that work has already been done for you, and it's a brand new space. You'll be the first one to come and open your business in that space. And so if you want to
so
open
for
a daycare, Cappy in Brooklyn Center, contact them, and they are building a new building. That building should be ready to go September. So you could work with them now, get going on licensing, go to Women Venture. I know Women Venture work with women businesses. They work with people who want to open daycare. So when you think about Deed wanting having that money, they're probably going to give you that money through a grant, through another organization or entity. The
yeah.
state doesn't normally administer the resources directly
No, no, no,
themselves.
no, no, no,
It's
no. That's what
always
I'm saying. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
always through another entity. And so I'm sure that's a way in which you would be able to get. So besides Cappy, you have access to Cappy Space, you'll have access to Deed, you'll have access to Acer providing technical assistance to get in that space. You'll have access to the City of Brooklyn Center, supporting you with resources as well to get into that space. So people, there is a lot of help. My thing is, I just want us to start out well. When you start out well, then you can be able to scale like Abraham is talking about. If you've been in business for a while and you're looking for a new location for your daycare, right? Come and get that help too. You can grow if you get the technical assistance that you want to get. Hennepin County Elevate has people to provide TA. All the CDFIs right now, when you go to them for lending, they can connect you to TA. If they are not providing the TA, they're going to connect you to an organization like mine. The other day, a CDFI contacted us, and they're going to send us 25 business owners to come and get technical assistance from us, because they
I think
know that we can be able to deliver and prepare those business owners to be able to come and get lending through them.
I think I'm about to quit my 9 to 5 to be an information provider to the community. you know,
It
to,
pays. It pays.
to be an information provider to the community, because man, I'll be giving the community free, but that's what the Inner Cycle podcast is here for, right? It's like, to provide free information for you guys to become rich, become wealthy,
Exactly.
build wealth. That's what we are here for. I'm passionate about this thing. I want to see our community build wealth and grow wealth. So I think we might have to bring Cappy back here, because I want to hear more about that project. You know what I mean? I think she talked about it last time, right? They did talk about it, but we'll have to bring Cappy back here. I want to hear more. Anytime I hear information like this, I want to hear from the horses mouth themselves. Okay, what is it about? How can people get into it? And
Oh
even with your
yeah.
executive director, I will be
And
maybe
they
I
do
come.
have a rental assistance program going on right now as well, people. So reach
Yeah,
out
yeah,
to
yeah,
them.
they do. Yeah,
They
yeah,
have
they do.
rental
We're
assistance
we're
going
gonna
on right
bring Cappy back here. I'm gonna reach out to them. I'm gonna reach out to my girl. I say, hey man, y'all come
now.
back here. A lot of you guys got a lot of resources the community need. Tell her what's up.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, tell
definitely.
her what's up.
Let's have
Yeah,
them back
tell yeah, tell her what's up. Yeah, but folks, as we are talking about war and how is it affecting small businesses, how is it affecting our wallet. Miss Bill brought a great segue, a great segment here, where in like even in the midst of all of these things, right, there are still opportunities out there. There are
on.
still opportunities out there. I mean, like the $1 million grant out, I mean, from D, right, that D is going to administer, the thing Cappy is doing, right? There's still a lot of, the Bush Foundation have this grant for small businesses. That is still going on, right? Is that
Yep,
still active?
Minneapolis Foundation, they may
Is
have
that
closed it today, but I know it was still going on. Yes, that people can
okay?
apply for grants, for small business grants.
I
And
mean,
there
yeah, we
will be
did.
other MCCD is at the legislature asking for resources. There will be some more resources coming down the pipe.
Okay, okay. I will check that. I will check that Minneapolis one out to see whether that is the Minneapolis Foundation one is still going on. Because sometimes, our people like to waste time. I know a lot of them have been hearing about it, but I want to make sure that we let them know, hey, it's still open. If you're still thinking about applying for it, go ahead and do that. for these things, though, folks that don't know how to go about these applications, is they either the CAPI or the ISO? Are you guys helping people? Is that part of your technical assistant to help you with the application process? These small businesses.
Definitely. You want to look for grants. Even if we don't have it, we will definitely help you write fill out your grant applications. That is something that we provide technical assistance around.
Okay, okay. Well, again, right in the midst of war, in the midst of metro surge, immigration crackdown all over, in the midst of everything that's going on. I mean, 2026 has seems like it's like been a long, long year already.
So it closed today. The initial application period for economic response funds will close at 4:30 p.m. on March 4th. Yeah, just like I thought. It closed today. They have
Wow,
received nearly 2,000 applications in 2 weeks.
damn, that's huge. So they waited until all of the application came in, and then they start making their decisions. Is that what it is?
No, they've been making decisions as they've been coming in. And so
Oh, okay.
they will stop accepting applications from small businesses today. But the reality is there's still left over, and they might open it back up
Okay,
because
okay.
I don't have the calculator, but I think they're giving people like what 25.
It's 25 to 10,000.
Okay,
The
so
max is 10,000, and the minimum is 2,500, right? So yeah, the minimum is 2,500, and the max is 10,000.
2,000, 10,000, 2,000 applications. Do that math. What is that like? That's not enough money. If they give everybody, so they're not gonna give people $10,000.
Oh, they
So
might get some businesses $10,000, right? But
yeah,
that's a huge. I mean, is it wow? It's like so. I mean, a lot of people went for that
just think
thing. So
about
it's
how
like I
many
mean,
businesses were literally shut down, right? And
hmm,
so 2,000 is not even a lot. There's a
wow,
the thing is people were already struggling prior to this metro surge. People were struggling. Like, I get the Minneapolis and St. Paul Business Journal, and I swear every week there's two, three, four businesses that are shutting down.
no, even I mean, even in the cities, right? Even in the cities, like even in the northwest suburbs, right? I mean, but those are things I think those are normal, right? It's like businesses close down all the time. Businesses go out of business. New business. I mean, new
That's
business
true.
come
Because
in,
as much
old
as they
business
will
go.
close, I will see the next week. I will see more open new one. I'm like, especially restaurant businesses. I really don't know. The profit margin is so slim, but
The
it's
profit
like
margin is
every
so slim. It takes a lot of work, but
people
but
are
the thing
still
about
doing
it,
it.
yeah, I mean, people are passionate about it, right? People are passionate about these things, and I think, especially when it comes to the restaurant, I mean, you guys are dealing with these small businesses, especially the restaurant. I think it's time for our people to scale when it comes to restaurants. Our people need to all this thing that's going on. I need to see a real Liberian restaurant now with plenty soup. Then I just don't want to see. Look at the Chinese joint, Zin Zin. People go to Zin Zin to eat. Why can't someone open like something like Zin Zin but like Brand Star, jollof rice, fried rice, with fried chicken and stuff like that, pepper color. Why can't someone open that?
Unfortunately, what our businesses don't do is they don't sell, and they don't merge, right? Whereas,
Even
and
the
now
dry
even
rice, that people go for every Saturday, you need to open a joint just for those kind of things, right? It's like
they
now
don't.
forget about the
Well, that's what
Kitali, forget
water
about
side is. That's why water side is killing the market because they give you that buffet style, right? There, it's to go. It's takeout is huge. Takeout makes a lot of money when it comes to restaurant. What
hmm.
restaurant struggles is having people to sit in the space. So if you have too big of a space and you don't get sit down, and honestly, sit down makes more. If you can get people to sit in your restaurant, you're making more money. I talk to restaurant.
Sit down makes a lot of money, but I think our people are not doing it the right way. That's my point.
There you go. And so, and honestly, they're not doing the sit down the right way because they're not providing the ambiance. They don't have the customer service. And then they're not doing the takeout the right way either because you're not having the ability. There's a turnaround time. We don't know. We don't process turnaround time. There's a science to all of this thing, and we just jump into it, right? There's a science from when the time you sit down in a restaurant, when you order your food, and the time that food is supposed to come to your table. All of that is time. There's a science. There's a 90-minute turnaround. Technically, what restaurant was built to turn each party around within 90 minutes, hour and a half, right? So they time everything from the time you enter, you're seated, you put in your order, you get your food, you eat, so they can be able to turn those tables. So that's why you see some of them having 300 or seating for that amount of people, because they're already calculating the units. They look at us as units, and they're calculating the units to see how profitable they're going to be and how they're going to be able to cover their overhead. We don't do none of that. When we want to go open a restaurant, we just think about the fact I can cook.
Exactly. Here's
Cook.
what here,
Let me find me a cheap location, rent that I can afford, and then I go into business.
here's one thing I think the community needs, all right. Sam and I discussed this on the entertainment segment. I think there's something that our immigrant community need. A sports bar, but African style sports bar. We do need that. You don't have it anywhere. I mean, I was seeing in the message. I shouldn't bring that idea on the podcast, but hey, for me, if anybody can jump on it, go for it.
Exactly.
Go for it. But
And
that's
that's
why.
our
But
problem right there. You
if I have the
thinking you're
money,
the
if I
only
have the
one
money,
gonna do
if
it.
I have
Yeah.
if I have the money right now, that's what I would do. But anybody who has the money and the resources, but forget about clubs, restaurant, just do a sports bar. You know how
Honestly, it's not hard. Only what constitutes a sports bar? Put a lot of TVs up. That's all.
TV all over. And you
And,
know how people
and
love
run sports.
And you know how people love sports, right? You got European sports, you got
Exactly.
European soccer, you got basketball, you got the NFL. People will come in there, that play will be packed. All the African people will be coming through that joint. And then guess what? Just be serving African finger food, pepper kala. You know what I mean? Hey, anybody, if you
Fish, meatballs. You're right.
exactly, just you don't need any kind of a heavy food. And then maybe hey, in the back there, you can do one or two, pepper soup, no fufu though, no swallow, just
And the recipe to that, like you said, is you're making money off the drinks, right?
That's
Because
right. That's
most
exactly.
sports bar menu, the menu is just like you said: appetizers, sandwiches, and pizza.
That's it.
That's it.
You don't need nothing
Easy
heavy.
food. Easy
No
food
rice.
where you're not even having too much of hardware in the back, right? That determines
No
the
rice.
hardware you're gonna have in the back. Your kitchen cost is gonna be low. We don't know how to do that. I tell them all the time, I was like, y'all don't need to put every single meat in the soup. Oh, that's the end of the world when I say that. Oh, that's the seasoning. That's what makes the soup sweet. I said, no. You go, even the Asian people caught on to that. There's ways in which they fix their dishes at home, and there's ways in which they fix it in the restaurant. The main thing they look for that authenticity to happen is in the spices. Asian, everybody believes in their spices. They will still offer you shrimp, chicken, steak, duck. None of it will all be in the same pot. If you want to mix it, it's called a house special, and they charge you more. Africans, can you imagine every single soup having every single meat in it? That's costly. That's costly. So the profit margin is very, very slim for us. Slim to none. We're literally just hand in mouth when it comes to our restaurants. So what money they got to come and spend in investing in the ambiance, giving you a new restaurant. I mean, and some of y'all, let me tell y'all today, y'all don't know how to do a restaurant interior decorating. Stop it. Stop it. The owners of McDonald's do not rely on McDonald's owners to decorate the McDonald's. Stop relying on yourself to decorate your restaurant. Go and find somebody in the market who knows how to set up a restaurant. Restaurants are set up in a way for a reason, strategically for a reason. Y'all taking these fake dollar store flowers and you're putting it in your restaurants. No, stop it. We don't need flowers in the restaurant. Most of the restaurants, you don't even see centerpiece. Centerpiece is for your home, your dining room table at home. Stop putting centerpiece on the restaurant table. I'm sorry, I have to go on that tangent.
Okay. Well, folks,
They're gonna come for me. See, at least I know what the restaurant look like. Abraham, I don't even go to these restaurants at all. You don't even know.
I don't. I said because it's like restaurant is not my thing, right? If I want to go, restaurant is not my thing. I said the thing that I want.
Go to the sports bar.
Exactly. That's what's missing in the community. A sports bar. Look at that place. Look at that place. Wait, let me just give you an example. Look at that place in Brooklyn Park. That Mac Jack. What does that place have? Like people go there all the time. And the people have learned. And the people have learned the trick. Guess what they put there? They put Guinness and everything. Every drink like people like they put it there.
Yes.
Why can't we open our own sports bar?
And those people try to sell that place twice to show
Really?
you if you got money. Yes, Mad Jacks was on sale for sale twice. I told so many people if I knew I was coming to you, bro, so we could
You should
buy
have
it.
come to me. You should
I
have come to
told
me. I said
so
that's the thing
many
the
people
community
to
need.
buy
You
that
know,
place. They don't be
sports
serious. They
bar.
be passing around here like they ballers. When I tell them to go buy something, then they blah. So many twice Mad Jacks tried to sell, right? And why have they stayed in business? Because of us. They
Yeah.
caught on to, you know what happened? The same with Blondies. We used to be in Blondies. Mad Jacks discover that crowd now. Mad Jacks is the new Blondies.
It is. I
Mad
mean,
Jacks is the new
the only
Blondies.
thing they lack, all of the other fancy stuff, Blondie's high, you know, like gaming and
Yeah.
all those stuff. If they can put that in there, that will even be popping big time. But that's what the community need, and people
And they
it's
haven't
like
even really changed the menu to cater to y'all either. But
no. The
we
only
still
thing
there.
the only thing they added there, as I said, I was surprised even when I went there. You know, a couple of friends, you know, you order drink and say, "Oh yeah, you guys want Guinness, right?" I said, "Whoa, really?" So my dad does this now. It's like that's the only American bar that I know they serve actual Guinness extra stout.
Yep.
That's the only
They
American
know
bar.
their crowd. They know their crowd. And a lot of these businesses, and sometimes you're struggling because you're trying to attract a target market that is not here. If in Waterside knows their market. If you know your market, and be intentional to attract your target market, you will be successful. And that's what Mad Jacks has realized. Oh, the African immigrant community is our target market. That's why the golf course struggles. The Edinburgh golf course struggles. You can be upscale, but the menu matters. I go to upscale. I want ambiance. Yeah, but I still want the food that tastes good. Yeah.
Okay, well, folks,
I still
there's my
want it to be
idea there
good.
tonight with everything
But
going
yeah,
on, right? Yeah, with
yeah.
everything going on, I think that I said a lot of great ideas. That's the kind of thing we're going to close with tonight. But Miss Beam has been a great show. It's already 1 hour. You know, when you're having fun, the
Oh
time goes
yeah,
by
gotta go.
very, 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 very fast. But you know, I know we are in uncertain times. There's war. I mean, Metro Search is still going on. They said there's 650 ICE officers here, stay in the Twin
Yeah.
Cities. So Metro Search is still around here. I know folks are still being detained, so that is still going on. Not only here, but you know, around the country. But in the midst of all of this, man, business still pays. People still need money. A lot of business opportunities out there. But as we close this segment, what is your message to folks out there? I know there's war going on. Gas prices are going up. You know, small businesses are still feeling the pain, but there's still lots and lots of opportunities out there, folks. So how do you want to close tonight?
Again, like I always close on our business and finance session, is infrastructure is your problem. Operations is your problem. You don't have a money problem.
Okay.
And if you haven't started your business well yet, in order to start well, come and get information.
Yeah, information is key. I think sometimes that's what like we might feel we are suffering, but because we don't have the right information. And I myself am a victim of this, right? It's like I'm guilty of this. Okay. It's as I said, the inner circle park here has been an eye opener for me, right? I've learned a lot. I've talked to people, like learning a lot, but I said, all the money, i- all the money in the community, I don't even know. I don't even know. When I'm talking to
Missing out.
when I'm talking to entrepreneurs, when I'm talking to so I said, whoa, really? So I myself, this has been an eye opener for me. This has been an education for me. But
Yeah.
again, right, there are a lot of businesses out there, and the thing, our people sometimes like to follow the crowd. I know the point you tried to raise earlier. People think, oh yeah, I know how to cook, so I want to open a restaurant. But do you know what you're getting into? Not everybody to me have to cook the heavy Liberian food. So I'm coming back to my idea of, a sports bar. Couple of you could get together, okay, and open a sports bar and kill it and you could get Mike Jack out of business in a heartbeat, right? It's like no, because to me, Mike Jack doesn't even know the African crowd. I don't think they ever show soccer over there.
And
Things like
go,
that.
or you can go and buy it. There's a lot of things for sale. You don't have to see a for sale sign on something to know that it's for sale.
That's a
For the
good
right
one.
price,
Yeah.
a lot of older owners are looking to offload their businesses.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
they're entertaining.
I mean
Let's buy
so
the
that
Maurice dealership. Rumor has it his kids don't want it.
the one in Broken Park.
Yeah.
Wow.
Prime location. Yeah.
It is. It is.
When he passes away, somebody at the city was telling me when he passes away, the kids are going to sell it.
Wow.
The estate is going to sell it. Yeah. They don't want it. So
Okay.
a lot of these things are available. They are for sale. It's all about taking interest, having an idea, and, deciding you want to buy it and wanting to buy things. I tell people, don't be scared about trying to buy things. It doesn't mean every dollar has to come out of your pocket.
Yeah.
If
There
you
are a lot of, there are a
align
lot of,
yourself with the right entities, they will direct you. It's called a capital stack, right? Deals don't get happen because somebody goes and sits down to Wells Fargo and qualifies for a loan. No, 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 no. It's called a capital stack. You will be surprised. A lot of these banks cannot afford to give you the money that you often need. They have to be multiple banks come together and do that loan. And people they subscribe to that loan to be able to make it happen for a customer. And so
yeah.
don't be afraid for wanting to buy things or acquire things or open things, right? There are ways in which you can do it if you align yourself to the right place. We're helping a lady open a laundromat. Laundromat, believe it or not, we don't have enough to even address the need that is right here in the Twin Cities before you even get to rural areas. There's a huge need for laundromat. Yes, it has a huge startup cost, but it's still a huge need for them. It'll pay off. Again,
Okay.
get help.
Yeah. I mean, even like, I don't know, but there's a zoning when it comes to that. Like, I realize the city of Maple Grove doesn't have a laundromat.
Look into that and see what the zoning is. Technically,
Okay.
a laundromat can go anywhere.
Really?
It's just water and sewage. It's whack
Okay.
charges. Yeah. Because you're putting the machines inside a building, a space.
Maple Grove doesn't have any, so maybe I could look into
You're on
that.
something. Homeowners prefer not to use their washing machines if they can. I know I'm always shocked to find out that why do you have a washing machine at home and people still go to the laundromat? They want to save on the water bill. They think it's cheaper to use the laundromat. And sometimes there's those comforters, those big items you don't want to put in your machine to mess it up. So
See, I'm dropping a lot of great ideas
we
here.
are, and I got to go. So
True.
next week, tune in.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Miss B, have a good night. Folks, you all have a good night, and we'll see you guys next week. Good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Just feel